thinking, is this a dream or something? But I was getting wet, and I mean, I was getting seriously wet. I thought Kim had poured some water on me. Our hatch was leaking and it was pouring in, and I just got some petroleum jelly and just shoved it in there and it stopped it, and I went back to sleep. But in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I changed the seal on a low profile Lumar 60 series hatch. Oh, what a pain it was to do this. This is our hatch into our bedroom, and we had rain for the first time for a long time, and suddenly it was starting to drip, and I'm thinking, why is it dripping? So I checked all the seals, and I had to, don't know if you can see, right next to my thumb there is a great big hole. We need to replace that. So first and foremost, I've got to take the hatch off and split it apart. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take these two off, remove this, lift this up, take it out, push them together on both sides, and it should come off, and then we'll take it apart and refit the new one of these. Here is the seal kit. I've got the Lumar number, and I've just checked it on the internet, and it's the correct one because I didn't want to open it up that way, so that's good. Okay, so what I'm trying to get to do is, this is trying to get to move like this, because that's a spacer that goes in between there, but this one is stuck. I've moved it slightly, so I'm just using 2.5mm Allen keys or Allen wrenches, and I'm just slowly trying to get it moving, but it's not moving. So with a bit of manoeuvring up there with the 2 Allen keys, I got it open enough that I could prise it out. But what I've been doing for the last 15-20 minutes is just working it with some WD-40, and now it goes really easy. I can even do it with my fingers now. It's still a bit tight there, so I've still got a bit of working to do on it, but you can see all the rust in there and some rust on here. So I'm just cleaning it all up.
There's a smile.
But this is the insert in here, and there's a metal bar that goes through. It should stay inside, but this one has come out. I don't know if you can see it in there, but that's still there. Now I've got to figure out how to get it out. It's a boat. So all I did was I just jiggled it and it came out. So I'm just going to try and make sure that that stays in together. So what happens is you pull that so it comes out, and up you pop. Beautiful. I've come inside the light ship, and because it is so hot and windy, but what I've got to do now is take these 4 screws off here and the 4 screws off there. Now this will be a bit more difficult, so I'm just going to soak it up with some WD-40 and just slowly try and take them off. I've just given it a light tap on the top. Let's see if it works. Oh yes, that one goes. We had 4 on the top and 4 on the bottom, and what you want to be doing is just cracking, getting the release on all 4 at the top and then 4 at the bottom before you start taking them out, because if you take, like I did there, if you take them out, sometimes there can be a little bit more pressure on the other ones, and you don't want that. So ideally you want to loosen all 8 up before you start taking them out. I got the first 5 out so easy, and then the last 3 have stopped. Okay, so what we did was use the impact driver, different types of head that you can put onto the end in there. And when you're having a screw or something that's not able to come out, you put one of these into the end here. You put it into the head of the screw, hit on here a couple of times with a hammer, and what it does is it twists it slightly, pushes down and twists it, and loosens it a little bit every time, and then we were able to unscrew it by hand on all 3, but this one didn't go, so we had to cut and then get a flat head onto it, and it came out. But as we were doing that, look, it split. So now what we're going to do is just slowly split it apart and take them off. Jill on one side grabbed hold of the frame, I grabbed hold of the other, and we slowly pulled it apart, and what happened was the rubber, the old rubber, stayed around the acrylic window. So here we are, taking it off. That's where it's split. Oh, look at that. And it looks like someone
make a patch there,
yeah,
in between this and this where it's leaking.
So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to clean that off.
But you need to wash everything, remove all the scrap you have there.
Clean that up, and it looks so good, so just needed a good clean up. Because it's acrylic, what we have to do is clean it with just soap and water, no solvents, because you can damage it. Bought this a couple of days ago, 60 seal, 60 series seal, double checked it, it doesn't fit. It's way too big, way too big. So I went back, went to check it again, and it doesn't fit. I don't know, peeved off. We think that it's a 65 series seal, and they're in a bag of a 60. There's a lesson to be learned here. I don't know what it is, but I'll figure it out. Just gone back into the marine store and got it changed. I asked for low profile, I got given a medium profile. I quickly looked on the paperwork, and it said low profile, medium profile, so I thought it meant the same, but it didn't. So I went back in and got it sorted, and I've now got the right one. Gonna go back and fit it now. The lesson learned is there is a massive difference between a 60 medium profile and a 60 low profile. I'd have thought they would have been the same size, but they're not actually. So the lesson learned is just double check that you get in the right seal. Oh well. You live and learn. Took two of us about 5 minutes. I couldn't film it because I couldn't film and put it on. It is really a tight fit, and I found it impossible to do it on my own. So Gilles and I did it, and we got one corner on, he held on one corner, I pulled onto the third corner, and then we held it down, and then we pulled it, eased it on, and got it onto the fourth corner, and then just pulled it all around so it was nice and tight. And it took us about 5 minutes between the two of us. I've seen it done on the Lumar website, and he does it so easily. I don't know how he does it so well, but yeah, it wasn't that easy for us. It's definitely a two-man job. On the Lumar video, he gets the frames together and it goes click, beautiful, goes back on easy. And what I'm thinking is this frame is probably 17 years old. It's been stood on, bounced on, dropped on, whatever. When Gilles and I slowly got it together nice and smoothly, tried to push it on, it was so difficult. Once we got both sides, they were still this far apart, and we physically couldn't do it. We checked the rubber seals all the way around, they weren't stopping away, so we had to get a big vice grip to put it on, and then squeeze it on and pushing it on, and eventually it came together. But it took, I would say, a good 15 minutes, and it shouldn't be that difficult. As we were pushing we actually tore a little bit of the seal. We had to force it, so I'm not happy about it. So I'm going to check it when it goes on back on the boat, check it. If not, we'll have to redo it again. I'm so lucky to have Gilles. He has a boat here, but he also has a workshop in the back here, and I was able to use his workshop and he helped me out, otherwise I'd have still been there now trying to put it on. But when we got back to the boat, I was trying to put the hatch back on, and remember there's the plastic with the bar inside, trying to get that back in and twist it to get it to line up, because it's not a perfect hole. It's like a flathead screw that I had to push back into there, and it took absolute age. I got the first one in really quick, and then the next three took me a good 5-10 minutes each. Oh, it was a pain. it's back on. I screwed this back in and I slid these back in. This was a pain, I had to keep twisting. So what I'm going to do now is put this back in and tighten it out, and that pushes out on here, which keeps them from sliding in. And you have to twist them to push out so it holds the bars in place, so when the boat's moving along the bars don't come in and fall out. So the spacers are going in there, and you use 2 Allen keys in the holes and just push out until it's nice and tight. There we go. Great. Put the cover back on both of them. That's good. Alright, what I'm going to do now is just wait now until it rains and give it a check, but I think it should be good. So it was finally on and I was happy with the position and how it was working, but there was still that little tear in the boo-boo. It hadn't gone all the way through, it just nicked it, but it's the seal when it comes down together, so it's very important. So I checked on, we have Gorilla Glue on here, and I checked on there, it's good for the material that we've got. Let it set for 2 hours and then we closed it. Really poured down that night, I mean torrential rain, the heaviest rain we've had for a long time, and not a drop of water came through, so the seal worked absolutely fantastic, so I'm really pleased about that. Would I redo the seal again, say if it goes in a year or two? Probably not. What I would probably do is I would change not the base frame, but the actual top hatch, the acrylic, the frame. I would change everything on that, because I just think the work that I had to do on it is probably not worth it. I'd like to thank Gilles of Phoenix 3, who owns Meat and Meat here in Grenada, because if it wasn't for him I'd have a very wet bed now. So thanks, Gilles. Okay, I'm glad that's fixed now and I've got a nice dry bread. I'm glad that's fixed now and I've got a nice dry bed.
Oh man.
Oh jeez, I got the giggles. And especially when we're sailing. So why don't you come out sailing with us?
What is it?
I hit it by accident.
What is it?
I hit it by accident.
What's going on?
I just made a noise.
Right, I'm still videoing, right? Kim goes mad at me if I make a noise when she's doing anything. I'll get the look of death.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
What are you?
I'm sorry.
You're sorry? If you don't find out... Oh, bloody hell. Jesus. I'm glad that's fixed now and I've got a nice dry bed. But there's always something breaking out on a boat. So why don't you come and join us and find out what breaks and what we can fix while we're sailing along. This lifestyle is fantastic and I love it and I wouldn't change it, but sometimes it becomes a pain and you have to keep fixing things. But that's what the life's like. When you go sailing with sailing schools, they just teach you how to sail, where we'll teach you what it's really like to be living on a boat. So why don't you come and join us? And get the full details below on our British experience.